This show is presented by the 323 Network. You can watch all your favorite 323 friends and shows on the 323 Network YouTube channel, follow us on all social media platforms at 323read, and support us as we continue to grow at patreon.com/323read. That's 323REID.
Are you ready for the ultimate college football experience? Yeah! Look no further than 323 University, home of the legendary 323 Cupcakes. At 323U, we redefine the meaning of underdog. Our players are so good at losing, they turn it into an art form.
Here at 323U, we don't just lose games, we make history. Our defeats are the stuff of legends.
Want to see the biggest schools flex their muscles? We're their favorite workout routine. That's right, the heavyweights of college football pay us just to make them look good. Psst. Ever wondered how Alabama and Ohio State stay on top? It's because of us! But that's not all. Our campus is a treasure trove of unforgettable experiences. We have a stadium with more seats than we have fans. And our mascot, Sprinkles the Spirited Cupcake, has his own Instagram following. Plus, our professors are experts in turning setbacks into stepping stones. They'll teach you how to lose with dignity and come back stronger. Now, let's talk academics. Our scholastic department is so elite, Betsy DeVos asked if she could enroll. But don't worry, our professors are just as committed to excellence as our football team. And let's not forget our star-studded alumni. Ron DeSantis and Glenn Youngkin? They're not just big names, they're big sponsors and boosters at 323 University. They know a winning team when they see one. 323 University, where losing is not just a skill, it's an art. Join us and be part of the legacy. Go Cupcakes!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 323. I am your host, Reed Murphy.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Look at the show. I'm the captain.
Welcome to the fucking show.
Fuck Scott.
That is right, folks. Welcome to another installment of College Shame Day. I am your host, Scott Ellia, and we are joined once again by Big Mac Daddy, Reed Murphy. I think every week that you join me, Reed, I might have to figure out some brand new name to call you.
I like anything with Daddy. That was my high school nickname, was Reed Daddy. So anything with Daddy kind of fits for me.
Oh man, well, you know what? I think we'll stick with that. I think we'll just go for every variation of Daddy that I possibly can.
Shout out to Day Day.
Oh, folks, man, I don't know if you guys watched the week 2 of the college football season, but it was another wild one. A lot of crazy things, a lot of shenanigans once again, and some 2 huge developments coming out last week. But a little bit of housekeeping first. Just want to kind of delve over a couple of these games really quick, especially in the top 25. You got number 1 Georgia completely destroying Ball State 45-3. No shocker there. Michigan, number 2 Michigan 35-7 over UNLV. Texas at Alabama. We'll get into that a little bit shortly, but just kind of a little snippet. Texas, thankfully, got that on the road upset over Alabama 34-24. Your Florida State Seminoles 66-13. This game was over by halftime, and I enjoyed every second of it. Ohio State 35-7 over Youngstown State. USC over Stanford 56-10. Penn State over Delaware 63-7. A lot of these big game scores. Washington over Tulsa 43-10. This game shocked me. This game was closer than what it really even needed to be. And I'm very worried for Tennessee going into Gainesville next week against Florida. Only beating Austin P 30-13. I mean, when you're a team in the top 10 and you're going up against a team that is 0-2 now in Austin P, you think you should be able to do a little bit more. Hopefully Joe Milton can course correct a little bit there. Another game I was really excited to watch last week, Notre Dame on the road against NC State. Sam Hartman returning to North Carolina against a familiar foe, beating them 45-24. Utah on the road against Baylor, beating them in a nail biter 20-13. And to preface the future conversation with this, fuck you, Utah, by only winning by 7 points. Nothing ever good comes from Utah. Oh, but I digress. Oregon over Texas Tech, 38-30. LSU over Grambling, 72-10. This is a game that the LSU faithful were really hoping to see, but again, it's Grambling. Reed, have you ever heard of Grambling?
I've actually heard of Grambling. I can't name necessarily any alumni from it, but I'm on the case.
Thank you. Kansas State over Troy 42-13. Oregon State over UC Davis 55-7. North Carolina over Appalachian State in an overtime victory 40-34. That was one I was not expecting to see that close. But thankfully, Drake May and company got their act right in overtime and got that victory. Oklahoma over SMU 28-11. Oregon State over Wisconsin in an upset 31-22. Poor Wisconsin. That one loss is really going to hurt them down the road, and especially in the Big Ten. One of my games of the week last week was Ole Miss going to Tulane and Ole Miss winning on the road 37-20. Duke over Lafayette 42-7. Colorado over Nebraska 36-14. I don't think that was really a surprise for anybody, especially with Nebraska being pretty much irrelevant over the past couple of decades. Hopefully Matt Rule was going to be able to go in there and do something to get that just football team and the culture turned around. It looks like it's going to be a little bit more of a slower process than we thought, especially when you got to go against Primetime himself, but I digress there as well. Rounding it out, Miami over Texas A&M 48-33, a game that I couldn't care less about. And Clemson over Charleston Southern 66-17. Reed, do you think Clemson, with that victory, do you think they have any kind of relevancy in the ACC, let alone the college football playoff anymore?
Just because of what they did to me in week 1, I'm going to say no. I won't forgive them for what they did. I will not forgive them for that loss to Duke.
And as you shouldn't, because even though they got that victory, they're still not in the top 25. They are leading the outside looking in vote with 86 votes to get into that top 25, but they did not make it. A couple teams that got knocked out as well with them. Texas A&M, goodbye. Tulane, sorry. And Wisconsin, that sucks. That's the only one I feel bad for. But you sit here and think, okay, well, if those 4 are out, who are in? Miami's now in over that win over Texas A&M. You got Washington State in there, sneaking in at 2-0. Kudos to Washington State and Oregon State, by the way. The lonely 2 Pac-12 teams left with no real home. And they're 2-0 right now in the season. Congrats to them. And then also UCLA and Iowa also getting added into the top 25. A couple notable things also in the top 25 as far as movement goes. You got Ole Miss going up 3 more spots to 17. Colorado and Primetime going up 4 more spots to 18. You got Texas with that victory over Alabama, shooting up 7 spots to 4. But also Alabama now drops down to 10, so they just pretty much just flip-flop there. And then your Florida State Seminoles are creeping further and further up that leaderboard, now at number 3. Congratulations, Seminole country. Man. But of course, with all those great games and victories and high-scoring games as well, there's been a little bit of a shuffle, Reed, as far as my top 5 for the Heisman goes. Of course, Caleb Williams is going to be firmly cemented number 1 on my board. Currently, season to date, he's 55 for 70 with a 78.6 completion rating or completion percentage, 878 yards passing, and 12 touchdowns, no interceptions. And then this is where the wacky ensues. Because I have a three-way tie right now for second on that board between Washington quarterback Michael Penix Jr., Florida State quarterback Jordan Travis, and Reed, this is for you, Colorado quarterback Shador Sanders, who has been lighting it up. Through 2 games, he's 69 for 89, 77.5% completion percentage, 900 yards passing, and 6 touchdowns, no picks. Do you see him slowing down at all?
Well, I'm curious to see how he's going to perform against these bigger schools. Like when they go up against, they're going to be going up against USC and Oregon, I believe. And I'm curious to see how he's going to play against these big schools. I think he's got it. That dude's power is crazy. His release is nice. Accuracy's great. Athleticism's all over the place. And he did the Deion. He did the Deion in the end zone. I mean, you got to love him. He's getting Heisman votes. He's going to be in the top 5 just for that.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, they have a couple games on their schedule that are going to be very interesting to watch. Like you said, they haven't even played USC yet. They still got Oregon on the board to play them. A couple other games they have left down the road as well. You have, you end the year against Utah, the reigning Pac-12 champion. You got Washington State right before that. You got Oregon State, like I said, both teams being 2-0. UCLA is 2-0 right now, so they haven't even got to the verbiage you like to use, the meat and potatoes to their schedule. They still got a long way to go, but hopefully they can keep up that steam out there in Boulder. But before we go any further into looking forward to week 3, there's a couple stories, Reed, that I kind of want to go over with you. We'll start on the heavier side, though. Fans of the 323, if you listened last week, you kind of heard me and Reed and company talking a little bit about Mel Tucker and what's going on right now in Michigan State University. Kind of touch up on it a little quicker. A sexual harassment claim was made against Michigan State football coach Mel Tucker by Brenda Tracy, who is a world-renowned advocate, unfortunate victim of sexual harassment and things of that nature in the past. Initially, it was set to be resolved before the season even started. Only information really out as of right now. Brenda Tracy is accusing Mel Tucker of sexual harassment, including an incident during a phone call. Of course, Mel Tucker denies these allegations. Initially, a Michigan State investigator recommended a hearing on the case for late August, before the football season even opened up. But Mel Tucker's attorney and himself claimed they were unavailable for those dates, and even most of the proposed dates in September. Eventually, the hearing was scheduled for October 5th and 6th during the team's bye week. And Tucker was actually suspended after the case details were reported. Now, one thing that this is where, Reed, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I feel might be going on behind closed doors, because Michigan State's athletic director, Alan Haler, he knew of the complaint when it was filed back in December of last year in 2022, but had not previously disclosed any information. I mean, you're coming up on a year now of having that kind of close to your chest, not letting that out. And now it's all over the place. Something smells fishy. Because the only reports that I've seen was the only people that were made aware of this were a lot of these higher ups, as far as boosters and, board of directors folk and things of that nature. I have a feeling that the media was tipped off once these folks heard about it, because time and time again, you hear these people in power who are going to look for every excuse possible to get rid of somebody they don't like for whatever reason, insert here. And of course, like we mentioned, Mel Tucker just signed a huge contract a couple years ago after their stellar 11-2 season. But I feel as though something shady is going on, because Brenda Tracy herself was the one who wanted to handle this behind closed doors and not put it on the national stage, not for Mel Tucker's ego, but for herself, out of safety concerns. She didn't want to put her name out there in the media, which that's her right. She should feel safe, especially with everything that's going on right now. Now, I wanted to ask you, do I have my tinfoil hat on right now with my conspiracy theory that thinking that something bigger is going on behind closed doors and they're just trying to look for every excuse possible to get Mel Tucker out? Or do you think this is just the way this is going to get handled from here on out?
I mean, now that it's happening, this is going to be the way that I feel like it's going to go. And it's unfortunate, like you said, for Brenda Tracy that that she even had to get brought out into the public light on this, when as big of an advocate as she is, she very much wanted to stay, private on this, because unfortunately, when it comes to these universities and any sports program, really, fans are, especially when it comes, unfortunately, to sexual assault towards women or any type of issue towards women, these fans of football teams and shit are not going to care about the alleged victim, and they're not going to listen. They're not going to believe, no matter what, if it means that it's going to hurt their team's chances and possibly cause their good or great coach to get fired. So, I mean, at this point, I'm sure Michigan State is just trying to find any way possible to recoup any of this guaranteed money, because as we've said before on the show, fired college head coach is possibly the best job in the world. You can, it's the guaranteed money that they give out from these universities is crazy, and they've done that with Mel Tucker. Now they're going to have to try and figure out some way to get him out, some way to get concrete proof into that contract to where they're not having to pay him out, and he's getting the luxury of not only skating from all of these crimes and shit for years, whatever the investigation will bring up, but he's also going to get the big payday with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to put a number on it, that contract was for $95 million, which made him the second highest paid coach in college football, over the Dabos, over who else we got out there? We got Nick Saban. You got, hell, even Brett Venables, with the amount of success that he had in Clemson going to OU. You think that he would be able to make a lot more money than that, but no, that's a huge number on there. Of course, it's still really, really early on in the whole investigation process and information. I'm sure information is going to be coming out almost daily. I believe that that hearing is still set for that October 5th date, so more to come there. But to kind of pivot a little bit, I do have some exciting and some really, what's the word I want to look for? Some justifying behavior out of the Pac-12, Reed. I don't know if you saw this. So recently, there should have been a meeting this past Wednesday in regards to the Pac-12 voting on the next board of directors to kind of go over assets and liabilities and how to handle the Pac-12 from here on out with the mass exodus that's going to be happening. But recently, a state judge in Washington granted temporary restraining order against the other 10 teams on the behalf of Oregon State and Washington State. So that way they stay the hell away to prevent the Pac-12 conference from holding that board of directory meeting this week. I mean, talk about sticking up for yourself. You have these 10 huge institutions leaving to go off to better things. You got the little brothers kind of picking up the slack and trying to make something of it, because the Pac-12 does still have a huge holding power as far as name goes, name recognition and assets, and they still have some money tied to them. But how the hell are you going to be, throwing parties and super excited and high fives all around that they're leaving to go to, the Big 10 or the Big 12 or SEC, wherever conference they land on, and then have the audacity to say, oh, no, we should still have a say on what happens with the Pac-12. No, get the fuck out. Congratulations to Oregon State and Washington State for this major win in my book. That's what makes it even sweeter that they're currently 2-0. A couple more detailed things about that. Like I said, a temporary restraining order blocks the Pac-12 board meeting scheduled for this past Wednesday and sets up a future preliminary injunction hearing to determine the voting members of the Pac-12 board of directors. So they're going to figure out who's going to be able to vote. And all signs are pointing to it's not going to be anybody besides Oregon State and Washington State, and then whatever teams they can entice to come over to the Pac-12, whether it's a merger completely with the Mountain West, or they kind of pick and choose teams from here and there. Of course, Reed, to no surprise to you, the Pac-12 declined to comment on the ruling.
Naturally.
I mean, I think George Klapkov, he is currently the Pac-12 commissioner. He's facing challenges and keeping the league even operational at this point.
That man is stressed.
Oh, he's done. There was already writing on the wall that he wasn't going to be able to be the Pac-12 commissioner in the future after this anyways. So, yeah, he's just stressing the hell out.
Nobody's going to be able to be the commissioner of the Pac-12 in the future.
Right. But like I said, they still have huge value in the Pac-12's name, the television network that they have, the assets they have, and not to mention the NCAA's men's basketball tournament units that they carry over that they could use with the Mountain West. So I said it once and I said it again, folks, especially with the Pac-12, there is more to come. It seems like there's updates with this every week, but I'm going to chalk this up to a win to the little guys. Congratulations, Oregon State, Washington State. You deserve this one. Oh, but let's pivot. How about that, Reed? You ready?
I'm pivoting.
Let's get into week 3. But before we get into week 3, let's recap that game of the week. Texas, Alabama, in Tuscaloosa, Bryant-Denny Stadium. You would think that Nick Saban was going to have his team 100% ready to go, make sure that Texas wasn't going to come in and get that upset victory, but boy, were we wrong. That was a thriller. All the way down to the last minute, you got Texas scoring 21 points in that fourth quarter to get that victory on the road. Congratulations to the Texas Longhorns. Quinn Ewers is looking like a dog out there.
He's a stud.
It is clear to see why he has that perfect 1.0 rating coming out of high school. Of course, he decided to go to Ohio State, transfer to Texas, but he's 24 for 38, 349 yards, and 3 touchdowns in that game. Like I said, that key to victory that I had for Alabama to pressure him and confuse him and really force his hand, they didn't want to listen to me, Reed. I don't know why. I felt like I had a good idea, but they had no answers for Quinn Ewers. No sacks, no real pressure, no interceptions, no turnovers on their book. Yes, he did have the fumble. It's a wash. It doesn't matter. But not even him. I mean, you have Jonathan Brooks rushing for 57 yards and a touchdown, and then you had that nightmare wide receiver room led by Jatavian Sanders with 5 receptions, 114 yards, and then Adonai Mitchell, 2 touchdowns. You had Xavier Worthy with a touchdown. Those names I mentioned last week to Alabama. If you want to try to neutralize that Texas offense, you got to neutralize those wide receivers, and clearly they didn't do it. And Reed, I don't know if you have anything for Alabama. I don't think I do anymore. I don't know what the hell they're going to do at quarterback. Jalen Milroe looked extremely pedestrian, 14 for 27, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. I mean, even to this point, you got Notre Dame transfer Tyler Buckner is going to be starting against University of Southern Florida next week. Is there any hope for Saban in that Alabama team right now this season, or they just got to hit that reset button?
Not this season, I wouldn't say. Like, I don't think there's any playoff hope, really. The quarterback situation, the streak is done on, the NFL Heisman candidate quarterbacks that they've been having over the last few years. I don't believe that this is the end of the Saban era and the Saban legacy there, but it's going to be much harder for Alabama, as we've seen over the years with NIL and how it allows these other universities to become more competitive and to steal players from, the legacy schools like Bama. So I think that Saban and that school, they're big enough that they will still be able to get their recruits and they'll be able to turn it around, and I'm sure that they will adapt if Saban wants to, if Saban's planning to, still coach for the next few years. He is getting up there in age. But this year, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Yeah. And of course, with them dropping that victory, they dropped that game to Texas, going down to still staying in the top 10, staying at 10. I think this college football playoff committee is going to try to make every possible argument to keep Alabama as close to that top 4 spot as they can for this point. I don't know why you think they'd get a lot more exciting games out of anybody but Alabama, but hey, it's Bama, it's the SEC. Like I said, I've seen nothing but SEC bias week in and week out, but hey, fuck Bama. Congratulations, Texas. This is a huge win, especially now that they'll be going to the SEC full-time next year. Nice feather in the cap for Steve Sarkisian. But that's last week. What's this week, Reed?
It's week 3.
And this is week 3. And I can see why ESPN and College Game Day decided to go to Colorado State and Colorado for game day this week because, they got they're 2-0. You got Deion there. You got Shador killing it. You got Travis Hunter still going 120 plus snaps every single game on each side of the ball. So I can understand the draw there. But when I first was looking at the schedule, I was like, I don't want to do what game day's doing. This is shame day. I want to do what I want to do. So I looked at everything, and I mean, yeah, you have number 11 Tennessee going on the road against Florida, but fuck Florida. I'm never going to give them any kind of limelight onto this show whatsoever. No shout out to you Gator fans. And then the team we just talked about, Alabama, number 10 at South Florida. I just feel bad for South Florida at this point. You mean, you're going up against that Alabama team that just got embarrassed at home by Texas. I expect a huge game out of the Alabama team, 50 plus points. They're going to embarrass the hell out of Southern Florida. And then after that, you have South Carolina at Georgia. But I mean, honestly, if I wanted to watch an older brother beat up on a younger brother, I would just go to a family cookout. Like, there's no need for me to watch that game. It's irrelevant. You're going to know what's going to happen. And then a really big honorable mention game that I'm going to be keeping an eye on is number 14 LSU at unbeaten yet unranked Mississippi State. I'm excited, but it's SEC football, whatever. And then this would have been my game of the week if it weren't for the negative limelight that's going on right now in East Lansing. And that would have been number 8 Washington at Michigan State. That was a game going into the beginning of the season. I saw that for week 3. I saw the rest of the slate of the games. I was like, you know what? That might end up being the game of the week for the shame day, but there's too much going on up there in Michigan. I got to stay far, far away. So, Reed, that just unfortunately leaves me one choice. I guess we're going to Boulder with them.
We're going to Boulder.
We're going to Boulder, folks. That's right. You got Colorado State facing off against number 18 Colorado. Like we mentioned before, Shador Sanders completely lighting up the football world. 69 for 89, 900 yards, 6 touchdowns. He doesn't seem like he's going to be slowing down until he gets to one of those big boy games. But there's an added element to it now. Because recently, you had Jay Norville from Colorado State with, what do they call it, Reed? Bulletin board talk?
Yeah, bulletin board material.
Yeah, for those who missed it, came out, this is in reference to how Deion Sanders goes to meetings and press conferences and interviews. Comes out saying, when I talk to grown-ups, I take my hat and my glasses off. That's what my mother taught me. And Reed, I know me and you have, they're pretty similar upbringings, but one thing that I think that spans everyone is you don't bring mom into any conversation.
No.
Ever.
No.
Especially Deion's mom. Like, if I can make any betting advice to anybody out there right now is to jump on the DraftKings or FanDuel or wherever you go to sports booking, legally, mind you, and take Colorado everywhere. 50 points plus. Take any kind of prop bet you can find because Colorado is going to blow their shit up. And this is no knock against Colorado State. They got some great players on that team. But when you're already up against it, roster versus roster, coach versus coach, and then you add that to the mix. I mean, Shiloh came out on the Pat McAfee show just saying, I don't know why they keep doing this. Why they keep saying, like, do you want to do this?
you can't even say nothing to Deion. Ed Werder was just in the press conference minding his own business. He was just sitting there. Deion looks at him and says, "Do you believe?" Ed Werder was probably, I don't know, he's probably doing the immaculate grid or something. He looked up. He was like, "Believe in what?" And Deion goes off. "You don't believe. You're not ready. Not taking questions from him. You can't say nothing."
No. And of course, that's going to be a late game for everybody, especially out here on the East Coast. I believe it is a 10 p.m. game. I mean, I guess I'll watch it.
Yeah. I mean,
It's going to be late.
yeah, what else is going to be on?
I got nothing else going. I got nothing to do.
Yeah, we'll roll with it.
Oh, yeah. And Reed, there's another game of mention. Well, not really of mention. Lame of the week. Stony Brook at Arkansas State. Just don't. That's all I'm going to say. Just don't.
Just the
Nope.
names. The names give you nothing. They give you nothing. Look, it's just getting back to your game of the week there with Colorado and Colorado State, and just seeing, how do you feel about literally every sports media entity seeming to end up in Boulder this week? Like, First Take was there on Friday. You've got College Game Day going to be there. Big Noon Saturday on Fox will be there. All of the entities are going to be at Colorado for this game. I want to know what the reasoning you think it could be for why everybody's going there right now, because I have a theory.
My theory is that there's nowhere else to go this week.
That's a good one.
Like I just mentioned, like the 5 or 6 games I just mentioned that, kind of rival that. If some of these other teams like Florida, they were actually relevant right now, you'd want to go to that game. But there's really no game of mention like there has been in the past 2 weeks. You got Deion leading Colorado right now to a 2-0 start. You got all the hype train, the Primetime Express just rolling right now. I figured it would have been either next week or the following week, because they're at Oregon next week, and then they're at home against USC. So
Well,
I'm wondering if they're trying to get there now before those games.
That's my theory right there. It's partially the first one in that it's a bad week, so it's like a perfect storm. And like, you got all the hype right now. Undefeated Coach Prime, undefeated Colorado, not just undefeated, putting up 45 points in week 1 and 36 week 2. Now you're going to go up against Colorado State. They're probably going to win that. It'll probably be a big score. And then after that, you have number 13 Oregon next week, number 5 USC after that. Arizona State's not necessarily great, but then Stanford can be Stanford, and then you have UCLA, Oregon State. Like, it's going to be tough, and that magic, that headline of Coach Prime and Colorado, it might just completely flatline from here, just with a couple losses. Like, it's not going to go away, but it's not the same thing.
No, I am a complete agreement with you. And I think one other kind of added aspect to it, too, is because it is such a late game. It's like I said, the kickoff is 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock West Coast time. But that gives ESPN all day to do whatever the hell they want with game day. They can have, I think they have The Rock coming on to be a special guest pick host with them.
Why? Because it's older?
Well,
Damn it. Damn.
you know what? I'll give that to you.
Yeah.
I'll give that to you. I think we have to leave on that high note. Oh, folks, but to round out the rest of this College Shame Day broadcast, the most exciting point of the show, something that I know I saw a lot of traction on last week, I was really excited to kind of do, it's the Wheel of Degenerate. Woo. For those who missed last week, Wheel of Degenerate, we're going to take every game that include the top 25 ranked team, put it on a wheel, spin it around 5 times, let the fates do their work, and whatever those 5 games land, I'm going to build a 5-team parlay. I will not tell you who I'm picking live. I'm going to have to put that on the social. So if you're not already following College Shame Day on Instagram, go to @323 College Shame Day. or at 323read.
I got
For those.
I got the directions down now.
Which way are you pointing?
I'm pointing at you.
I know this is an audio medium, so the folks that are listening to this in their car, they don't see what Reed's doing. But folks, if you go to the YouTube channel for the 323, you can see what Reed's doing.
323 Network, right on YouTube. Big views for College Shame Day. You want to see them.
Man. But we got a little bit of an upgrade to the wheel, Reed. You notice anything different?
Oh, look at that logo. Look at that shield on there.
We got the brand new College Shame Day shield.
Hey.
But to recap last week, we had Utah, Kansas State, Notre Dame, SMU, and Florida State. Like I said earlier, fuck you, Utah. Because I picked the spread at 7.5, and they missed because they only won by 7. But I did hit on Kansas State at minus 14.5, and I did hit on Notre Dame at 7.5. Of course, I missed the Hail Mary upset of SMU over Oklahoma. That's more on me. But we did hit Florida State with the spread of 30.5 points over. I feel, if you go back and watch that game, I feel really bad for Frank Gore Jr. He was getting pissed. He is so close to cementing himself even further into the halls of college football. I really hope that he's able to move on to the NFL and follow in his father's footsteps. But hey, game's the game. Let's get this underway, folks. All right. Reed, you ready?
I'm so ready.
All right. So to recap these games, before we spin this wheel, we got number 3 FSU at Boston College, number 7 Penn State at Illinois, number 14 LSU at Mississippi State, number 15 Kansas State at Missouri, Weber State, never heard of them, at 12 Utah, Central Michigan at number 9 Notre Dame, South Carolina at number 1 Georgia, number 10 Alabama at South Florida, San Diego State, shout out to you, Luis, and the Aztecs, at 16 Oregon State, 19 Oklahoma at Tulsa, Minnesota at 20 UNC, Northwestern at 21 Duke, Western Michigan at 25 Iowa, Western Kentucky at 6 Ohio State, 8 Washington at Michigan State, Northern Colorado at 23 Washington State, North Carolina Central at 24 at number 24 UCLA, number 11 Tennessee at Florida, Bowling Green at number 2 Michigan, Georgia Tech at number 17 Ole Miss, Wyoming at number 4 Texas, Hawaii at number 13 Oregon, and the official College Shame Day game of the week for week 3 in college football, Colorado State at number 18 Colorado.
Let's see if it comes up on the wheel this time.
Listen, we'll take the fates. Here we go, folks. Spin number 1. And it is Bowling Green at number 2, Michigan.
Ooh. Okay.
Wow. Let's remove him from the board, Reed.
Well, see, I know you're going to have your picks, of course, at 323 College Shame Day. So I don't have my picks on there, so I will give you folks, the non-college football expert here, I will give you number 2 Michigan in that game.
It seems, Reed, I like the way you think with that one. All right, folks, spin number 2.
Look at that wheel. It's spinning, spinning. Everybody going and spinning, spinning. We have...
Oh, no.
Oh.
Number 10, Alabama, traveling to sunny South Florida.
It's so weird to see Alabama at 10.
Right? And it's just like the college gods just want me to root for Alabama. And I I don't know if I have it in me, Reed.
That's just
spin number 3.
That's just a game you skip.
Yeah, maybe. And we got Western Michigan at number 25 Iowa. Wow, that was right there. That was teetering.
That was teetering
on that Northwestern game.
That was one of those prices right bankrupt or whatever it is. I think I'm thinking of Wheel of Fortune.
Spin number 4.
What are the best wheels in entertainment?
Oh.
Whoa.
Where is it? it looks like it's right in between. Number 15, Kansas State, the Wildcats at Missouri.
Zora.
Man. But just to recap a little bit there, because I know we are just firing on all cylinders right now. We got number 15, Kansas State at Missouri just now. Number 10, Alabama at South Florida. Western Michigan at number 25, Iowa. And Bowling Green at number 2, Michigan. Reed, looking at this list of games, what are you hoping number 5 is going to be?
I would really like Colorado to get in there.
Oh, no. You know what? I like that. Selfishly, I like the Florida State pick, but I never like betting on my own team because I always feel like I need to fade myself.
Yeah.
If I were to go with one game that I could see a potential upset, I feel as though with the lackluster performance that came out of Tennessee last week, and they're traveling in hostile territory in Gainesville to Florida, that could be a game I could see having a squeaky upset.
Yeah.
Let's see if we get it, though.
I'd like the stress of FSU getting in there for you.
Oh, man. Well, it's not them.
Nope.
No, folks. The 5th and final game on the ticket is number 8, Washington at Michigan State. That's good. That's another one of those sneaky games. Wow. I love it.
Good selections in there.
Oh,
I like
absolutely. Just to recap it again, Bowling Green at 2, Michigan. Number 8, Washington at Michigan State. Western Michigan at 25, Iowa. What the hell? I just realized we got a little bit of a trend going there.
Whoa. Yeah, what's happening?
What happened? And then 10, Alabama at South Florida, and 15, Kansas State at Missouri. Like I said, folks, I will not give you my picks for these games live with you right now. The only place that you're going to be able to find that is at 323 College Shame Date on Instagram. Look for that before the noon kickoff games tomorrow. Reed, thank you so much for joining us once again.
Of course, as always. And as always, I do have something for you. We talked about Grambling State at the start. And look, I went into Grambling State notable alumni, and I could give you names. I could just give you the names, but I think this one actually requires a little bit of a presentation to go into the surprise that I got.
Oh, I'm ready.
Looking into the notable alumni here. So, notable alumni of Grambling State. Grambling State is basic. I'm not sure if it's classified exactly as an HBCU, but it's pretty much a black college. It could be one of those unofficial ones, but I think it might be an official HBCU. And as I'm going through the notable alumni, obviously you see the pattern, you see the culture, you see you love to see it, and you got notable alumni like famed R&B singer Erykah Badu.
Oh man,
she went there. Doug Williams, first black quarterback to win a
Dougie.
Super Bowl. Washington, there he went to Grambling State. You got legendary rapper E40. Asians,
Wow.
Caucasians, blacks, and Latinos. I'm just a dog trying to get a buck. E40 went to Grambling State. And, of course, everybody knows and loves Burl Cain.
Whoa.
Now, this is a wild one to have gone to this school. Burl Cain's the commissioner of the Mississippi Department of Corrections, but most notably, he's the former warden at Angola, the famous Louisiana prison that's been called the Farm, where he was relieved of his duties because he was having prisoners do renovations of his homes and all this other kind of work that could be considered by the woke media as modern slavery. All that kind of stuff that Burl Cain would go against. He was also one of those. He's like one of those movie wardens that makes you find Jesus. Like you don't have an opportunity to go, read the Bible and everything. Burl Cain is your God. Grambling State notable alumni. Look at that.
Like I said, I know this is primarily audio medium. We do have the YouTube channel, so make sure to check it out to get a nice close-up look about this guy. But for those that have listened to the show for a long time, we did have a little bit of a segment last year when the Jerry Jones pictures surfaced of him in high school, And I said it once and I'll say it again. Reed, that haircut just comes off racist.
You know, you can see the slurs just like starting to build up in that turkey neck there.
Oh my God. I can hear the jowls shaking from here. Folks, but that is it for this week at College Shame Day. Like I said, check us out on all the social medias at 323Read, at 323 College Shame Day, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you can find your podcast, you can find us there. But also always remember, if you're not going to be good at it. Have a shameful day, folks. See you next time.
Go Cupcakes.